Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. The COVID-19 pandemic really ignited interest in gardening for many of us. But now that winter is coming, how do we protect our precious investment? Frankie Flowers joins us. He's back this morning with tips on how to protect your garden to make sure it's blooming great next season. Good morning, Frankie. Tips we can all use.
Good morning, Dina. I have a question for you. Do you know what winter burn is?
A winter burn? Yes. It's like freezer burn.
Yeah, what is a winter burn?
So it's when winter, it frosts all over your things and it ruins them, like your rose beds.
Right. But even your skin, in the wintertime, what happens to your skin?
It gets cracked.
It becomes dry. It cracks. Okay, let's talk about winter burn right now. When it comes to evergreens, I'm going to show you a picture of what the results of winter burn, what happens in the spring. You see that browning effect on many of the arborvitaes that are out there, the cedar plants and some of the junipers. Well, how do we prevent winter burn? Well, we need to prevent against some of the sunlight and as well as the wind that we see in the winter. And one thing that you'll see that a lot of people are going to be thinking about doing, if you have a prevailing northwest wind, you just planted some evergreens, what you should be using is what's called a burlap. And what burlap does is, number one, is it prevents a little bit of some wind going through, so providing some wind protection, but also what burlap does as well is shade. So with shade, it's going to eliminate that winter sun. So the sun and the wind in the wintertime will pull out moisture. So by using a burlap screen, you can see some of the pictures of the burlap screens as well, that you can use to cover some of those evergreens, you can really protect your plants.
But Frankie,
the
some
next
people
thing that you can do is
they have huge cedars. You're telling me you have to wrap that all the way around every cedar?
not some of the larger, more established cedars that have year over year have done well, those are fine. But those newly planted ones that are in an area where there is a strong wind that comes through, that there's a brand new investment, that you want to build a windscreen just to protect and to be more on the safe side. So some of those tender plants as well. Another thing, if you ever had winter burn in broadleaf evergreens like boxwoods, you can use what's called an antidescant. This is called wilt-proof. We can spray that wilt-proof on things like rhododendrons and boxwoods to prevent winter burn and moisture loss. So this basically seals that plant up. Mirror Dad was just asking me about squirrels. We had a lot of talk about squirrels. We were talking about squirrels and pumpkins earlier on. So tulips. Tulips, the only flower that needs lipstick. Get it? Tulips.
Hey-oh. Tulips.
Hey-oh. Okay, so squirrels love tulips. Yeah, you got it. Squirrels love tulips. The reason why they love tulips is like they'll eat them, those tulip bulbs. So how do you prevent squirrels from eating them? One thing you can do is, this is a pelletized chicken manure. It's actually hen manure that you can just kind of sprinkle over the top where you planted your tulips, and it does work a lot of the times to repel, to keep those squirrels out of the area. And finally, when it comes to your roses, if they're a hybrid T, Floribunda grandiflora rose, some of the varieties, you need to cover up those roses. And this here is simply a hood that you prune back the rose, you put the hood over top, mound up some soil around it first, then put the hood over top, put something on top of that hood like a stone so it won't blow off, or even mount some soil around, and you have some protection. So just learn about the plants that you have. Those need to be protected, but for the most part, if they're perennial and they're hardy for the zone, all they need is a good watering in the fall to make them be great next year. And another thing, big tip, fertilize your lawn.
Yeah.
Use a nice turf builder fertilizer at this time of the year. It'll be great for next year.
So we learned protect your tulips and roses by sprinkling chicken manure over the squirrels' noses. Thanks, Frankie. So good. We'll be back with more BT right after this.